Welcome back to the WPF chapter. In this video, we are going to set everything up for the Hello World WPF application. So therefore, you need to open up the Visual Studio installer, and then here you'll find installed and your Visual Studio Community 2017. And here, simply modify, or click on more and then click on modify. That will get things ready. And then you can install workloads. And here it's important to also install the .NET desktop development workload. This will allow you to build WPF, Windows Forms, and so forth. So if you don't have that, simply search for WPF in here, or search for the .NET in here, and install the .NET desktop development. Once that is done, you can close that up, and you can go ahead and open a new project. And now, after having installed that, you will see something called WPF app.NET framework here. So you can go to Visual C#, and there you'll find the WPF app. And I'm just gonna call that one WPF 01. And now let's go ahead. Let's open that up. And the designer will load, and then you will find this main window.xaml file. And now you might wonder what XAML file is and what this whole thing here is. Well, that's our GUI, graphical user interface. And in here we can drag in things such as a text box, or we can drag in buttons, but we can also do that in the XAML code. We will look into XAML a lot more in the next videos, but for now, let's just create something in here, which is a Hello World text. And therefore you can open up the toolbox on the left hand side, and here you will find all the different controls and so forth that you can drag into your main window. As you can see, it's called main window, and if you search for this title, you will find it in here in your XAML as well. So as you can see, it's split up here. There's a XAML part and there's a design part. So this design window is what you can see here, and then there's this XAML window which you can see here. And this is pretty much the code that makes up this window that you can see here. So it's using multiple namespaces up to here. Then it's the main window class. That's pretty much the class that we use here. As you can see here, main window.xaml. And there is a code behind class. We will look into that in a second. And then there is the title, height, and width. So we define the width of our window here. We define the height, and of course this title here at the top. Now let's open up the design again. Let's click on design. You can even double click it, then you see it in a whole window, in a great window. And then in order to open up the toolbox, you can press Ctrl-Alt-X, or you can simply go to View, and then here you'll find the toolbox. So I'm going to open up the toolbox. As you can see, now it's there, and I want to drag in a text block. And there we are. That's our text block, and as you can see, you can change its position. And now if we drag that up here, we can see that things change up here in the grid as well. So if I move it around, as you can see, the margin has changed. The text wrapping is set to wrap, then it's vertically aligned towards the top and towards the left, horizontally aligned towards the left. So as you can see, you can play around with the value here, and I'm just gonna position it more or less in the center. And what it simply does, it adds those margins, as you can see, 147 towards the top and 225 towards the left. So now if I want to change the text, I can simply change the text here, or I can double click here and then change the text there. So I'm just gonna say something like Hello World. And if I enter, or if I click somewhere else, as you can see, it has this enter in here. So I'm gonna get rid of that again, like that, and click to the side. So as you can see, it's only taking the space that it requires. So it's wrapping the text here, and that has to do with this text wrapping dot or equals wrap. All right, so we will look into XAML and so forth, but first of all, let's start this application. and run the code, and then you will see that we have a little main window. And there we are, main window and hello world. As you can see, this is just a simple text that's set here in our GUI. And you can even adjust that. As you can see, it's not centered. It's always positioned at the same spot because it has only this margin towards the top and the left, which are fixed. All right. Now, the main window is called main window because of the title that it has. So now is a little challenge for you. Change the text to hello and your name, and then change the title to my first GUI. All right, I hope you tried it. So let's do that. Let's change the text, and I'm going to do it in here in the text block .text property, and this one will be hello Dennis in my case. And now the title should be something like my first GUI, my first GUI, graphical user interface. Now let's start that. And there we are, my first GUI and hello Dennis. Great, so now everything is set up to drag some more things in here like buttons and all those great things, and we will see how to create great GUIs in the next videos. So see you there.